Brigadier General Amir Avivi, thank you so much for taking time at this very difficult time. All eyes are on the rockets which were exploded and they killed 500 people in Gaza. What can you share? Because there are many narratives that are floating.
There is only one truth. Palestinian Islamic Jihad admitted shooting the hospital. They didn't really hit the hospital, they hit the parking lot. I don't know how many died, but it's maybe a dozen or maybe more, but not 500, and not Israel. So basically one big lie. We have all the proof, 100%, that it's them. They admitted it, talking between each other. We heard them speak, and we also presented it. We have, from different angles, the cameras showing they were shooting, and then they had a failure, and it fell where it fell. Till now, I think more than 135 rockets they shot fell inside Gaza, and it's not the first time. It happens every time. You know, they are producing it not in a very sophisticated factories, and this is the kind of rockets they have.
It's very difficult to show this to the international community sometimes as soon as this happens. And as you see, there's a barrage of misinformation that often comes out. So how does the IDF deal with that?
Well, you know, I would have expected from the international media to be serious and wait to get an answer, because the IDF will always say the truth. But in order to say the truth, we need to really double check and see what happened. So really, from the very beginning, we knew it's 99.9% not the IDF, but for us, 99.9 is not enough. We want to give a serious answer, backed up by facts. So it took the IDF 3 hours to really check it thoroughly and be able to say, definitely it's not us, and also prove that it's them. Unfortunately, in some major newspapers, immediately they said it's the IDF, and this is really, really bad. It's terrible behavior. What can we say? This is reality.
Almost 2 weeks into this war, the world is looking at one point. When are the ground troops going in, and what is the holdup?
Well, it's not a holdup. We have to prepare our forces. We have a lot of Air Force missions before we send our troops inside. We want to send them where they will be the safest as possible. Rest assured, Israel is going to gain control of the Gaza Strip. It's going to destroy Hamas entirely. Hamas and Islamic Jihad. It's going to clean all of terror infrastructure in the Gaza Strip. That might take months, a long time, but we'll reach a point where Gaza is clean of terror infrastructure.
There are media reports of extremely detailed intelligence by Hamas. Can you tell us where the indication might be that everything that happened started with Iran?
Hamas is funded by Iran. 70% of their money is Iranian. They are equipped by Iran. They are guided by Iran. Everything is Iran. The whole story is about Iran wanting to disrupt the buildup of a coalition, American-Israeli Sunni coalition. We were moving fast towards a peace agreement with Saudi Arabia and basically normalizing relations with the whole Sunni world, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Oman, Pakistan. And this is a process that the axis of Iran, Russia, China, saw as a danger. Especially the Iranians perceived it as a big danger to their national security. And they decided to disrupt it by launching this unbelievable, devastating, evil attack, while keeping Hezbollah intact in order to be able to defend themselves. And I don't think they thought that this will end up by Israel destroying Hamas eventually, and the US understanding that this is a global issue and an attack on US sending warships and posing credible military threat on Iran and Hezbollah. So things are evolving, not the way the Iranians thought.
The tunnels. I mean, we have spoken to people on the border saying those tunnels still existed. And I thought the IDF had made statements that they had gone into all of them. Where does that stand in terms of the soldiers going in? How dangerous is this? And let's not just talk about the south, but also the northern border.
The IDF dealt with the tunnels that were crossing our border, and this we managed to really eliminate, and there was no crossing from tunnels. Everything we experienced was above ground, not underground. Having said that, the whole Gaza Strip is one big underground infrastructure everywhere inside Gaza. This is not something that we dealt with. There are thousands and thousands of terrorists in the tunnels waiting for the IDF. We have trained for that. We have techniques. We have technology. And we'll deal with that when we're going.
What kind of backup, if any, on the ground do you expect the United States to give?
I don't expect any backup on the ground. Talking about Gaza, I don't expect any backup at all, which is militarily. I think that the US will intervene if Iran and Hezbollah intervene. Then it's a global war. Then it's a regional war. Then it's not only about Israel. This is endangering really the US. And the US made it clear. I think President Biden said it clear. Don't do that. Really saying that, the US will be willing to intervene in several ways.
I realize it's really not the time for the investigation mode, but what happened that day on October 7th that the Israeli Defense Forces were not ready, that there was not nearly enough people on the ground, that ended up in a massive slaughter of Israeli citizens?
We got used to be very dependent on intelligence, taking risks, relying on the fact that we'll have intelligence on time to bring more forces, and we didn't have this intelligence. I've seen that problem a few months ago already, not only in Gaza, but also in Judean Samaria and the West Bank. I think we are lacking human intelligence. We have a lot of technology and everybody wants to deal with cyber, AI, 8200, but we're human beings. And with human beings, you need human intelligence. And we didn't have the proper intelligence. We'll have to really go in depth of this issue and change it.
The different factions had huge amount of intelligence, and pamphlets that have come out show this. Do you feel that some of the Gazans that were working on the Israeli side might have helped to assist this plan?
Yeah, I was opposed completely in letting Gazans in Israel to work, because Hamas in the last 20 years has completely radicalized the society. I mean, think about it. They educate children from the age of 3. There is only one outcome. This become jihadists and extremists. And this is the kind of indoctrination that the young generation in Gaza is suffering from. And it was a very bad idea. It enabled them to get a lot of intelligence. And it's also something we'll have to deal with in the future.
How do you deal with 2 million people plus that are living in Gaza? And many will say, many are just people who want to live and breathe.
The first question we need to ask is what is needed for Israel to be secure. We are never, ever going to let anyone on the other side have any terror capabilities. For doing that, we need 2 things after we clean up the Gaza Strip. 1, sit on the Egyptian border, because there is endless amount of weapons that are going in from Egypt. And the other thing is full freedom of operation for the IDF everywhere, just as we have in Judean Samaria and the West Bank. And then we can talk about exactly civil-wise who will manage the towns and the cities. We have to remember that also the Palestinian Authority is corrupt, funds terrorism, hated by their own society. So we need to think out of the box. I can tell you that we in IDSF have built 4 different plans for a vision for the future. None of them are look alike like the plans that exist today. You know, we're in a world that everybody speaks about innovation. Well, you need innovation not only in technology, also in statecraft.
Does it include Arab nations that might come in and take control as well of this entity, of this land?
Well, I don't know if an Arab nation, but there are many new ideas which I'll be happy to discuss. You know, it's a whole discussion. It's really going into it can take hours.
Well, I'm going to take you up on that. Brigadier General Amir Avivi, thank you very much for joining me at the Media Line.
Thank you very much.